YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive, bringing you guys a brand new video for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, the brand new games coming out in November for the Nintendo Switch. Now in this video, a couple people have asked me already. There was a new trailer that dropped. If you haven't checked it out, I've got my reaction in the description below on my channel. But the new Kanto Map has been released, and it's basically a kind of high quality updated version of Kanto for these new games, but it also displays a lot of Pokemon locations, and a bunch of people asked me to kind of go through the map and kind of break it down a little bit and talk a little bit about it. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. Kind of a fun video and just kind of discussing some of Kanto and what to look forward to. So I've got this handy dandy zoom in tool here, so we're gonna be using that, but you can see the full map here. It's got some of the legendaries across it. You can see Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos in the corner. Mewtwo's actually behind my face cam, and then Mew is actually hidden up here in the top little corner there. Now I don't think necessarily the Pokemon locations on this map are 100% indicative of where the Pokemon are found, but it seems to be generally the case that the Pokemon are going to be found in these locations for the most part. Some of it's a little bit of a gray area, kind of trying to understand where these Pokemon are, but it does leave some questions and some open-ended questions for what's going to happen when the games actually come out. So let's start where we would normally start, which is going to be our normal starting base here, which is going to be in Pallet Town, of course. We'll zoom in a little bit more. So it looks like you are going to get your starter Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee here. Now, it is still, from as far as I can tell, it's still left to be determined whether or not you get to choose Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle at the beginning of the games. I think you do, but I'm not positive because there's an image of the table and it shows 3 Pokemon there. So you would think that you get to choose between the 3, but it's kind of still up in the air. So I think you do get to choose both, but again, I'm not positive. Either way, we do have confirmation that the starter Pokemon are found in the wild, as we did see a trailer where Bulbasaur was found in Viridian Forest. I think that this map is just a guideline of where some Pokemon are found, and there's some Pokemon that are available to be found, it seems, that have never been able to be found in Kanto before, which is also kind of cool information. But nevertheless, you start in Pallet Town, you kind of work your way north here, which is where you're going to be able to find Pidgey and Rattata. Pretty normal stuff there. And then, of course, you head to Viridian City, and to the west there, you can find the Nidorans. Normally, you'd be able to find Mankey there in yellow as well, so not quite sure if you're going to be able to find them, but that's something interesting to note. Of course, you'll work your way north to Viridian Forest, which is where you're going to find Kakuna and Metapod and things like that. It also seems like this is going to be where you're going to be able to find, like I mentioned, Bulbasaur, Oddish, what's it called? Bellsprout. A couple different Pokemon seem to be available to be found there, as we can see from the trailers. So as I mentioned, Bulbasaur can be found there. We'll also talk about Diglett Tunnel. Obviously, Diglett Tunnel still exists. So Diglett Cave, you basically transfer from Viridian City is it Viridian? Yeah, Viridian City to basically back to back to kind of the beginning of the game near Pewter City. And then of course this is where you'll find Aerodactyl, the fossil. Obviously there's a cool picture of Aerodactyl as basically like a big statue inside, so that's really neat. In Pewter City, you'll work your way east towards where you'll find Jigglypuff normally. Mankey's also located here. We've seen the Nidorans also located here, and kind of work your way towards Mount Moon, which is of course where you're gonna find, we've actually seen quite a few screenshots of Mount Moon, as you see the Eevee, or the Mew in the top left corner there. But in Mount Moon is where you'll find your Geodude, your Paras, Clefairy, probably your first kind of appearance of Zubat, which surprisingly is not on this image because it's probably just a joke. I'm sure you'll find Zubats there. Here's where things are a little confusing. You see Clefable down here, kind of towards the bottom, which obviously there's nothing there normally. So this is why I'm saying, like, they kind of just put Pokemon on the map that maybe don't fully reflect where that Pokemon is located. We can kind of go down a little further here and we can see Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. Now it is very possible this is near the bike path. It is very possible this is where you get Fly and you can potentially find some wild Pokemon here. So maybe Bulbasaur will appear there and you'll be able to get Ivysaur and Venusaur there. But again, we do know from previous kind of footage that Bulbasaur was found in Viridian Forest. So I wouldn't be surprised if the starters are located pretty early in the game so you can gather them onto your team. But again, Mount Moon will travel you basically all the way to Cerulean City. You'll come out here, there's in Fire Red, Leaf Green, there was a couple move tutors here for Mega Kick and Low Kick. And then you see things like Hypno, Sand Slash, Parasect, Electrode, Rhydon. Obviously these Pokemon are not located here. They would be way too strong, but normally you would find things like Sandshrew and Ekans in this area, so that's something to make note of there. The Rhydon obviously again doesn't really fit, but perhaps that's actually representative of the cave in which you find Mewtwo, which is located right about here outside of Cerulean City. You can surf from this high route here where the Golduck is and ultimately get to the cave where Mewtwo typically would lie. We see Psyduck there in the water, and then Charmander, of course, being located here right after Nugget Bridge, which is pretty cool. Being able to see Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, and this seems to be a bit of a new area because if I recall correctly, and obviously I think that this will be designed a little bit better, as you work your way past Nugget Bridge and work your way to Bill's house, and as you see Caterpie, which is interesting, they show Caterpie there, but at Bill's house, normally you would work your way down kind of like a side road, essentially, past these two little ponds here. You work your way down a side road, and you kind of end back in Cerulean City, pretty much where the Psyduck is. That little area now seems to be a different location. Is Charific Valley gonna be here? I mean, that's a kind of a crazy question to ask, but will there be some sort of special place for Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, and will we be able to find Vulpix and Growlithe there? Perhaps Ponyta earlier in the game? A couple different questions there, because that little terrain looks different than what it would normally be in Kanto, so that's something that's a pretty interesting question to raise there, that may be a different location in the map, because previously I believe it was just a strip of land. I don't think there was really anything there in Fire Red Leaf Green. I just recently played through Fire Red Leaf Green, so it's pretty fresh in my memory. So anyway, normally from here, you would basically go from Cerulean. You see Bulbasaur on the map here, but again, we know Bulbasaur is located earlier in the game, so I think this is just a rough guideline. You'll work your way. You'll basically go on an underground path down here. Meowth is typically a lot of times found where that Persian is. You'll work your way down the underground path. And again, here's Meowth, as you can see on this route at the top of your screen. There's a route that leads you to, I think I called this Viridian, but it's actually Vermilion, I believe. Sometimes I mess up the name of the towns, but Vermilion here, so that's going to take you to the SS Anne, of course. Now, one of the things that's interesting is, are you able to surf from this location? You see Squirtle, you see Wartortle located in this area here. I think previously in yellow, you were given Squirtle in this area, so perhaps that's an indication there, but maybe you'll be able to find Squirtle in the wild. One thing I find very, very interesting is if you can indeed surf from this location and work your way around, can you get Dragonair over here outside of the Safari Zone? That is a big question mark, because Dragonair located in the map, does that indicate that Dragonair is found here or not? I don't know, but it would be very interesting if you can surf in this big open water. It feels like this shouldn't be wasted space, right? It's part of the game. Why not add this area? Maybe put some sort of a mini game here where you can do some sort of Poke Ride. I mean, they can do so many things. We saw Mantine Surf integrated. Why not add some sort of a mini game that takes place in this large body of water here that typically is unused? It was unused in previous games. If you're trying to move the truck with Mew on it, it would be over here. But again, you're in the SS Anne, and again, you have your Vermilion City. You would take the Diglett Tunnel back, all the way back to Viridian, basically, and Pewter. And I haven't located Mr. Mime yet, so that's something we have to kind of think of, because Mr. Mime was previously a trade Pokemon. But then there's this route over here, which is where you would find Drowsy, Sandshrew. I think Ekans is found here, a couple different Pokemon. You can't actually proceed because Snorlax blocks your path. So then your next journey is back north, and then to the east for the Rock Tunnel. So you'll work your way across this route here and then down this way, and you'll see the power plant right there. The power plant obviously located, you have to surf to it, but again, a lot of electric type Pokemon there. We see Zubat for the first time, of course, located in Rock Tunnel, but I'm sure it's located elsewhere. Machop located there, Poliwhirl, Magnemite, Magneton. So some pretty cool stuff. And then of course Lavender Town, and the Lavender Town Tower looks incredible, by the way. Seeing it in this high definition art looks phenomenal. I think it's gonna be really sick. Obviously Ghastly, Gengar, Haunter, Cubone, Marowak, all cool Pokemon located there. From there, you can choose to move south and takes on some pretty tough trainers where you'll see Slowbro, Slowking, or Seaking rather, but that's not gonna be where you're gonna really go. You're either gonna go to the west here, and you're gonna see Kadabra located in this grass. Again, Alakazam, Arcanine, Growlithe. This is where you would find Vulpix and Ninetales for the first time, which are version exclusives. Vulpix and Growlithe are version exclusives, something to note. At this point, you have to go underground again. I feel like they make you go underground around Saffron so many times, but until you give them the kind of the water, the fresh water, whatever, the tea, whatever it may be. You can't go to Saffron yet, so you'll skip there, and then you'll end up in Celadon City, of course, where the grass type gym leader Erica lies. You'll be able to get your Vulpix here, your Growlithe, as I mentioned, that little patch of grass there on this route. Porygon located here at the game corner, which is what it previously was. We were able to find a couple different Pokemon like the bug types Pinsir and Scyther in this location as well, but otherwise you're going to continue. You'll get your bike, obviously, previously from Cerulean, and then you'll work your way down the bike path here with Ponyta, Rapidash, Eradicate seems to be located here, so not surprising to see those. Doduo and Dodrio in their normal habitat, and then work your way down Big Daddy Gyarados here outside the Seafoam Islands, which is very, very cool if that's going to be where you're going to find that. But otherwise, here we are in the Safari Zone area. Basically, you've got your Lapras located here, which I find pretty interesting. Normally Lapras was previously located, it was a gift to you. I don't know if it was located in the wild at all. I think it was just given to you. So Lapras potentially located here in the Safari Zone. Mr. Mime, there we go, I was asking about that earlier. Mr. Mime previously only found through trade, also seems to be located in the Safari Zone. So the Safari Zone seems to be habitat to a lot of unique Pokemon, Dratini included, Scyther, Pinsir, looking really cool there, Kangaskhan, of course, some pretty cool stuff. And then you'll work your way over this way, which is where Ditto seems to be hiding. Ditto located to this route here, and then again you'll see your Glooms, your Volplumes, your Victory Bells, and Weeping Bells, and then Farfetch hidden in this little patch of grass up here, so that's pretty cool. Previously, you could trade for Farfetch'd at one point in the game, but it seems like in this game you'll be able to, hopefully find in the wild. I think you could find in the wild previously. I did mention the bike path. They don't have a Snorlax laying up here, which is interesting, but we can assume that Snorlax will probably be blocking the way here as well. So once you kind of finish this area, the next place to go, you'll get Surf and Strength from the Warden, typically is what it would be. And then you actually backtrack a bit, and you'll head basically back to Pallet Town, and you'll surf down to the Seafoam Islands and to Cinnabar Island rather. So you see the fossils located there, which is where the museum is. Seems like Cinnabar Island is fully developed, and there seems to be a volcano on the side of Cinnabar Island, which previously I don't think was there. Cinnabar Island was very, very small, but you can see where the Grimer is, the Weezing, and the Magmar. There is some sort of a new location there that seems to be located on Cinnabar Island. And you have the option to go to the Seafoam Islands, which is where Articuno is going to be hiding. Generally, Jinx seems to be located there, which would be the first time that Jinx would be capturable in the wild in this game. Previously, like I said, you had to make a trade to get Jinx, so that's kind of cool there. Again, Gyarados, we know Gyarados can appear in the wild. Very cool. I think that's going to be really cool to be able to see some of these Pokemon appearing in the wild for the first time. Of course, then you're going to beat Blaine, who is likely the gym leader, and then work your way back to Viridian City here to take on what might be Giovanni, what might be Blue, I don't know. I have no idea. And then you're on the road to the Elite Four, of course, which has a couple cool Pokemon here. You've got your Nidoqueen, you got your Golem, your Nidoking, Machamp, Machop, etc., and then ultimately the Pokemon League. A couple things to note: there is a Dragonite hanging out down here. Not sure if this body of water is gonna be accessible. That would be really, really cool if Dragonite spawned super, super infrequently in this patch of water somewhere. I don't know. It kind of looks like the same thing as Dragonair. I'm not sure. I haven't gone through exactly and looked to see if every single Pokemon is on this map, but I'm gonna guess that every single Pokemon is on this map. I think every single Pokemon is on this map. So I think they just kind of wanted to put everything on here regardless. There's Pidgeot, which I don't think I noticed before. Mewtwo, obviously. So I think they did get every single Pokemon, and they just wanted to put each one on the map. So really cool stuff there, as we can see, for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I'm really excited about these games, man. I think that it's beautiful. It does seem like there's going to be a few different areas that we haven't seen before, specifically that area where the Charmeleon is and the Charizard. Looks like there could be a volcano on Cinnabar Island. That could be a little bit different, but generally it does seem as though Kanto is going to be very, very similar to previous games. Thank you guys so much for watching this map breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you did. Subscribe if you're new. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one. And be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.